everybody. Randy Patterson here with Boomerocity, and I've got the third interview in my trilogy of interviews with Elvis tribute artists, or ETAs as they like to call themselves. This one is with Cote Deonath, and I had to stop and think of how to pronounce it because I get a little bit tongue-tied with certain names, and I want to get it right. But Cody is a great guy. You're going to love this guy, not only as an Elvis tribute artist, but also just as a human being. We talk a lot about Elvis, man. We're just two fans of Elvis, sharing Elvis stories and insights and things like that. And Cody's a nice young man. He's in his 20s and rocking the Elvis thing, man. Let me tell you. And I'm a tough one to convince on those things. And I've had the privilege of interviewing three of the best of Elvis tribute artists, and Cody is certainly one of them. I encourage you to listen to this interview if you love Elvis, because you're going to love what he has to say about him. And while you're at it, I always ask this, but if you haven't already, would you subscribe to Boomerocity on whatever platform you're catching us on, whether it's the podcast platforms or on YouTube or any of the others? And while you're listening to this interview, would you go ahead and hit like? Neither going to cost you, but it sure helps Boomerocity out a lot. So without any further ado, here is my first of what I hope are a lot more interviews to come with Cote Deonath. Until next time, this is Randy Patterson with Boomerocity. Take care.
Hey, brother.
Hey, Elvis. How's it going?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Man, I am so sorry. I was on Central Time, and I'm normally on Eastern Time, man. But as you can see, I am literally on site at a gig right now. We just got done sound checking, and you can see the jumpsuit in the back, the Aloha jumpsuit. You got the gold lame in the back there. So we're in the thick of it. So
yeah, good deal.
It worked out good.
Before we go any further, I got to ask you, because I don't want to make a fool of myself, which I can do pretty easily.
Hey, man,
but
I'm with you there.
I've watched some interviews of you, and I've heard your name pronounced two different ways. So is it Cody?
Cody, yep.
Okay,
absolutely, man.
Because I've heard some French-leaning type of pronunciations of it, which is
Cote. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And then is it Deonath? Is it Deonath?
Like the banana boat Nath.
I'm sorry that you had some latency there. What was it again?
Deonath.
Deonath. Okay, cool. Very cool. All righty.
Yep, Deonath. Yep, absolutely,
Deonath.
Man.
All right, now I can speak somewhat intelligently. So,
awesome.
Man,
do you want me to go grab some? Do you want me to go grab my AirPods or anything like that?
No, you're good. I'm hearing you fine on my end. It's just I think it's a network thing, a little latency there. But well, you're talking to a huge Elvis fan. My first concert was Elvis Presley, 1973. Yeah, in Phoenix, Arizona.
Where at?
Phoenix, Arizona, at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I was 13, 14 years old. And not only that, as I got there 2 hours early, and I'm standing in front of the stage and I'm looking at all the gear, and I'm especially kind of zeroed in on the black guitar with his name written in script on the neck. And somebody walks up kind of beside me, not too close, but kind of beside me. I turn and look, it was the Colonel. And I asked him a few questions. And the last one being, can I go backstage to meet Elvis? And he goes, no. And he turns around and walks off. But that's my first celebrity interview. I kid you not. So
the Colonel Tom Parker, man, unreal.
I wish I brought a camera and snapped it, but I followed the rules on the ticket stub that I still have. And it was but the miracle was, Cody, was this thing. I mean, like I said, I was 13, 14 years old. Mom, like Elvis, had me in church every Sunday, but this was not only on a Sunday afternoon, it was Easter Sunday, and Mom still let me go because she was a big fan. So
wow. That's saying something about Mama. Like that's crazy.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. But I mean, was it just electric? I mean, I asked that every
Oh my
single time.
gosh.
It was like a bolt of electricity, correct? Like it was just like
Oh, it was. I think
just
people,
lightning.
yeah, because, and I think from my experience and from what I witnessed, people literally, and when I say this, I don't want to sound stupid. I try hard not to, but there, it was like people lost control of their facilities to a certain extent. I'm sure there were some
Yeah.
wet pants around there one way or another,
Oh
but
my gosh.
I caught myself screaming along with the rest of the crowd because there he
Oh,
was. I mean, keep in mind, this was just a few months after the satellite concert.
aloha.
And yeah, and
Right
he
there,
was
dude.
still nice and thin. He had a great jumpsuit on. And since those days, I have found online a bootleg of that concert and found some pictures of the thing. So yeah, it was, and I know it's an accurate bootleg because this. Tell me if you've ever run into this on any song of anybody's, let alone Elvis. He introduced a song on stage, and he said this is from a new album coming out. The name of the song was "I'm Leaving."
Yeah.
For years, not just years, decades, I tried finding that album, never could find it. And so fast forward to the 90s sometime, 20 some odd years
Yeah.
later, I belonged to the Columbia House Music Club thing, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I needed to meet my obligation of, you know, the 99-cent thing. And there was a box set of Elvis, Walk a Mile in My Shoes, that 5 or 6
Yep.
CD set.
I have it.
In that set was that song. I hadn't heard it since April 1973. I popped that baby in the DVD player, and it was exactly how I remembered it.
Man, and that one is such a beautiful song. We do it often at the festivals that
Really?
I run. Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving.
Yep. Yep.
Dude, and it shows off his falsetto, and it's just like, what couldn't he do? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, and he didn't sing in falsetto that meant that much. I mean, that and maybe Unchained Melody were some of the Little Darling,
Yeah.
were,
Little
was
Darling. Yeah.
yep, absolutely was a falsetto featured song that Elvis would sing live on stage. But I mean, he really didn't. He was always that smooth velvet voice. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when he burst out his range, man, I mean, it was just like, I mean, you're one heck of an entertainer, E, but my God, do you have a voice? That's what I always thought. I was always thinking. I mean, he's like, oh, you know, and I'm sure you've heard this, and if you haven't, I'll maybe learn something new. He always used to say, you know, if you want to see a singer, go see Frank Sinatra. If you want to come see an entertainer, you come see me. And I'm just like, Elvis, that's not true, brother. I'm like, you're a singer. You are
No, he
pound for pound one of the best singers that's ever walked the face of this planet. You know. Um,
absolutely. Well,
and
I'll go a step further on something. I wish I could remember um, the name of the guy. He's a musicologist, but he's kind of a one-hit wonder too. He did that This Moment. It was done on Family Ties and all that, and it, you know, he became an overnight sensation. But when I interviewed him, gosh, I wish Billy. Gosh, the last name's slipping me totally. But
yeah,
anyway, when I interviewed him several years ago, he was describing Elvis, and he goes, "The looks of a Greek god." And you know, I mean, think
yep,
about it. You look at him and you try to figure how old he was at any time. I mean, we know by certain things, maybe the jumpsuit he wore or something. We know chronologically because of
yeah.
records how old he was. But if you didn't know, I'd defy anybody to try to figure out how old he was. He just was
No, I mean when he was
ageless.
exactly. I mean, we in his late 20s. You're like, I mean, dude, he just don't look. And then you look at him at 42, and you know what's crazy about Elvis in that regard. You know, people look at the CBS special of '77, and that's not how he looked. That's not
No.
how he looked in the end. You know, there's pictures. I've seen pictures. There's pictures online. His hair was not that it looked almost frizzy. It almost looked
Yeah.
frizzed, and he wasn't that bloated. And I mean, his voice was incredible. I mean, the concert, if you listen to it, I mean, he sings Bridge, and it's arguably one of the best Bridge over Troubled Waters that he sang in his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
And My
Mm-hmm.
Way is just heart wrenching when you know how hard
Yeah.
he was singing it. And I mean, it's just like, but people have that lasting image, which is being rewritten. Thank God now, because Elvis was a character. I mean, he had a stigma around him. I mean,
Yep.
I look at guys like me and the guys that participate in Elvis Week, and before the estate really started the Ultimate Elvis contest, I mean, there was no quality control.
Yeah.
So
True.
and I'm for that. I'm not I'm not the guy that's gonna say like, man, you're bad or this or that, what have you. But there's a ton of us that work day in and day out to make sure that people don't look at us like, oh, you wait a minute, you're an Elvis impersonator. No, I'm not an Elvis impersonator. I'm an Elvis tribute artist. Well, there's no
Right.
difference. Well, there is. I don't think I'm Elvis. I'm Cody. I don't want to be Elvis. I'm my own person. But when I step on stage, it's just like an act of theater in that sense. You look at someone on Broadway playing Jean Valjean, and he's not going to go up there and get off stage and go be Jean Valjean. I mean, like, you know what
Right.
I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
it's a switch that you turn on and off. And I'm so grateful that the new movie Baz Luhrmann made in 22 didn't again shy away from that side, because I mean he was
Right.
broken. I mean there's no doubt about it that he was broken, but he shed a light on his voice.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's like the mind and body. I mean, I was fortunate enough, along with a lot of other people that were close in the industry of, doing festivals and licensing this and that, what have you. Brian was there at the premiere, Brian Mays, and whatnot. And we got to talk to Baz. He had an open question segment. And someone asked him, why did you not shy away from it? He goes, because it's so important, because the mind and body were absolutely ravaged, but the voice and the heart and the soul was so
Yep.
strong. And
Yep.
you could tell he was just getting anything that he could do. And there was a moment where Baz said, and then he looked at Charlie at that, and with that little smile, like that kid smile, like, did I do okay? You know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
what do you
Yep.
mean, man? And it's just, those are the things that I look at. Like, when I call them the purists that don't like what we do or think that we're like the impersonators that once were. You know, they don't have that conversation with us and what we do, and look at how we look at this as such a duty to not disgrace the legacy of what
Right.
has
Right.
come. Because, and by the way, we are this big. We're not any bigger at all. We're not even close, you know. But my
Yep.
God, it's a bunch of Elvis fans going into a room each night that we do a show, and we literally we do it, and we do it for Elvis. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's
Yep.
just
Yep.
it's that's what it's for. We're all Elvis
Yep.
fans. The only difference is I've got sideburns and I'm wearing a jumpsuit and I'm on stage, and but I'm also at times watching my brothers, watching my friends on stage, and I'm a fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's just one of those things where I'm just like, we talk about that, and it's just like to see the gradual. I don't want to say, because there wasn't a decline in his talent. It was an up and down, hills and valleys career that I feel like it, it was it's just not something that I've ever witnessed in a
Yeah.
musician, to where you
Yeah.
look at a picture of Elvis and you're like, man, he looks good there, but this is the next night, and you're like, that's not even the same guy, man.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
how is that even like what? And like, I'll talk to people in '77 who saw him, and they're like, oh my God, he was amazing. And then he looked amazing. He looked at it, and I'm like, you saw him when in '77? I was like, do you have your year right? And it's like, because we look at '77 as like the
Yeah.
sacrilegious year because it's special, man. So as you can see, I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff, just like
Well, you
yourself
and
and
I
stuff like
both.
that.
You and I
You know
both.
what I mean?
I will. I
Man,
will say. I will say one thing about the movie, and then I want to tell you about a book. I don't know if you've gotten it yet or not.
of course.
As far as the movie goes, I loved it. I mean, like you, it got the suits
100%.
perfect. The
Yeah.
Elvis's moves perfect. I was even stunned. I thought they filmed the Graceland scenes. I honestly thought they filmed them at Graceland, but it was in daggum Australia, you know?
Australia.
Yeah,
Australia,
I
man.
was blown away by that. What I
Crazy.
didn't care for was, and you're going to think I'm crazy when I say this, but I felt like they went overboard in trying to make Colonel Parker look bad. Now, You can love or
I will
hate.
agree with that.
Yeah, because if you, it doesn't take but a quick Google search to find out that
Yeah,
the Colonel didn't sound like that, and there were
of
some
course.
things I feel like were distorted. Now, to add to
100%.
that, about 2 years later, I'm a friend of Marshall Terrell's. He's an author. He's written a lot of books, 6 books on Steve McQueen, and just came out with a book about Jay Sebring that was murdered with Sharon Tate. Fascinating book. But he co-wrote a book
Wow.
with Greg McDonald, who was the Colonel's protege. And I was supposed to interview Greg, but he died. He had stage 4 cancer when the book was just being released. So Marshall and I talked about it. And there's a lot of great info in there. If you sound like you're like me, you like to
Yeah,
have the
of course.
but it's
The nuts and
called,
bolts of it.
yeah, and it's called Elvis and the Colonel, and it's Greg McDonald and Marshall Terrell. And it's a great
That's
book, but
awesome.
it gets into some of the behind the scenes explanations of why certain things went down the way they did, sheds a little bit different light on some of the common stories. And I think you might like it if you haven't read it already.
I love it, and like I agree and whatnot. But the way that I looked at the movie, like you said, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. Movies in Hollywood are never 100% accurate.
You're
You know
right.
what I mean? We
You're
know
right.
that. We know they put the movie magic over it. We know that they embellish on things and stuff like that. It's just like Bohemian Rhapsody, Elton
Yeah.
John's Rocket Man, Ray. I'll say Ray was pretty close.
It
Ray
was
was
close. Yeah.
as close as you can get to a true biopic of an artist.
Agreed.
Get on up with Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, Whitney Houston's "I Want to Dance with Somebody," which again, in my opinion, I thought they did a disservice on that movie. I mean, but I look at what the product that we got of Elvis, and I'm like, it was a very Baz Luhrmann film, very
Yeah.
bad, very
Yeah.
bad in so many different ways. I mean, it was just over the top and whoa, like this is crazy.
Well,
Um,
and I want to interject there because I didn't even really. I mean, I'm not big into the weeds of movie making, music making a little bit different. But so
right,
I
right,
was the first time I watched that movie in the theater. I'm looking at it. I'm going, dang, this reminds me of Moulin Rouge. I'll be dang if
yeah,
Baz didn't do that movie. So I was like, well,
right. No,
duh, you know.
and exactly, exactly, dude. Moulin Rouge is just like it's like sensory overload, especially the Broadway show is as well, which incredible stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, but now he's back. I mean, and now it's just like he's releasing a new Elvis movie
I heard
in
that yesterday. Yeah.
September of 2025. I mean, we are literally Elvis fans in 2025. We're about to see new footage and new
Hmm.
interviews and new backstage stuff of Elvis Presley. And he goes, "It's going to change everything that you thought you knew about Elvis." And I'm going, "How are you telling us that in 2025? Like what are you saying to us right now? Are you telling me I'm going to go I've got to go back to school?" Like I mean like I've got
You
to
and me
go
both.
learn. I mean, like, man. So I mean, it's just one of those things. But like, what's the gift that keeps on giving? Elvis Presley. I mean, like,
Hmm.
I'll stack him up to the greats any day of the week. I'm sure that there's people you that could argue has a better voice or better this or that. Nobody has a legacy like Elvis. Nobody
That's right.
has impact on pop culture like Elvis.
That's right.
Nobody had the upbringing that Elvis had in this
Hmm.
world. Um, and I think that Elvis was a person in the long line of people, in my opinion, which I loved also about Baz's film. They gave credit where credit is due to
Hmm.
all of those cats that came before him that he was around growing up with,
Hmm.
and one of my favorite lines in the entire movie because it encapsulates it that core group of people that sit there and have a certain ideology which is just not right. um and BB King and him, there's a scene where they're on Beale Street at the club and they're like, they're not going to put you in jail. You're a famous white boy. They may put me in jail for walking across the street, but they're not going to touch you because they're making money off of you. And that encapsulated a whole nother side of what they were doing to Elvis.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
then again, look at how it blew the door open for everybody else. It put that music mainstream. You couldn't
Mm-hmm.
go across the street without hearing Southern gospel rhythm and blues music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just everywhere after that the big bang of rock and roll happened. I mean,
Yep.
literally. And I mean, like, you just hear it. You hear it in everything that we listen to today. And it's just so amazing to look at the artists that created new music for that film. You know, whether you're a fan of new music or this music or whatever, I mean, those artists got to put their own spin out there and whatnot. And I mean, there are just so many opportunities that spun from that film, as well as just bringing it to a next generation of like people like me who got made fun of in high school for liking Elvis.
Same
And now
here.
it's,
Same here.
you know what I mean? And it's just like, and now it's just like, oh no, dude, have you heard this Elvis cat? And I'm like, dude, what are you really,
Come on
really?
in. The water's fine. You
Come
know?
on, water. The water's fine, brother. Like, come on. And so, I mean, it's just, it's crazy, man. And now these people are just like, we're getting another thing, and he's just always in pop culture. He's even more so now than he ever was, man. I mean, so I mean, it's just crazy. I know we've just sat here and talked about Elvis, which I mean, I love, you know, because I
Yep.
mean, it's not really about me. It's not. I know there's stuff that you probably want to ask about this and the business and whatnot, but I mean, this is the nuts and bolts of it, man.
This
I
is
just
two Elvis fans talking with each other. This is what this
exactly,
is.
man. Exactly.
I've got one for you that I
Yeah.
guarantee you have not experienced yet. I would bet you that jumpsuit behind you, which I know cost you a small fortune,
Yeah.
that
A little bit. Just a little bit.
just a little. But I've got an interview that I did last year, and this part of Elvis I know you know, that he would often in the middle of a show stop and have Bill Blasey sing "When It's My Time."
Yeah.
And that song was sang at Elvis's funeral.
Yeah.
Okay. I interviewed the guy who wrote that song,
No
Phil
kidding.
Johnson. Phil used to play with the Stamps. He used to be with Bill Gaither and all that. And he became a big time Christian music producer in Nashville. And how I even knew him is I grew up in Arizona, and his family was prominent in the church, small denomination, very similar to Elvis's, but a different denomination. That yeah, and so it was a small world as far as that denomination goes. And Phil was with a local quartet, and then went on to be, to get with J.D. Sumner and the Stamps, and he produced Jimmy Swaggart before Jimmy Swaggart brought everything in house and all that. So Phil co-wrote a lot, or wrote a lot of songs, produced a lot of albums for people that were even friends of Elvis's, like Dottie Rambo and such. But Phil wrote that song, and I hadn't talked to Phil in many years. And last year, I finally got an interview with him, and you can watch it all. I mean, we talk about everything. We talk about, and he told me, he goes, Elvis was supposedly going to be recording that song himself, and he
Wow.
died before it could happen. And I said, man, I'm wondering if there's some rough takes somewhere where he's just sitting around with
Oh,
everybody.
dude.
Somebody got it, on a tape
Just
recorder or something.
just think of what, again, they said 68 reels of film from those concerts. Just think. I'm just telling you, like, we know that they exist. You know that they're sitting on stuff. And but
Hmm.
again, that's why he has a lasting legacy, because they're just not like, and here's all of the stuff. And it's like, no, they keep us waiting. Maybe a little too long, but like,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
just like, man, I mean, like, Terry Mike Jeffries recorded Fire Down Below. Have you heard Fire Down
Hmm.
Below? Dude, that is such an Elvis song, and he was supposed to be on Moody Blue. It was supposed to, or
I didn't
yeah,
know
it was
that.
supposed to be on Moody Blue. And what was supposed to be Moody Blue was a completely different album. They had, I think they had "It's Easy for You," Moody Blue, obviously, and this and that, what have you, on there. There were a couple of takes that were like songs that were kept, but a lot of the album was changed. A lot of it. Look it up. There's also a documentary, I think, that's been made, like an indie documentary about the album that should have been, and whatnot. I think it may be called Fire Down Below, Moody Blue Fire Down Below, or something like that. And it's like about that album that they just kind of axed all throughout it, because they just didn't feel like it was good enough and whatnot. And Yeah, man. I mean, it's just like one of those things where you look at it, and it's like so many untouched projects,
Yeah.
that he left behind, that it's just like, what would he have done? And it's just one of those things where you're like, it's just like that what if, the biggest what if,
Yeah.
right? You know,
And
what
we're
if he
still
would have
talking about this stuff 50 years later.
almost
Uh,
50 years. We're 2 years
yeah.
away from the 50th anniversary of his passing,
Yep. Yep.
90th birthday. Um, just like what? Like that's
Yep.
nuts. I mean, they don't have Michael Jackson festivals, Prince festivals, Johnny Cash festivals. I mean,
Well,
I know
who's
there are a
tour?
couple.
There's only one other artist they tour the house of, and that's Prince. You know, and that gets any major traffic. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Graceland's it, man. Not even Graceland's Palm Springs homes. Graceland, you
Yep,
know, just
exactly. It's just like one
it's
of those things where it's like I, you look at it and you're like, how much closer can you get?
that's
You
right.
can't.
Well,
You can't,
well,
man.
man, you nail his voice. I mean, I tested myself because I've listened to. I'm certain everything that's available out there on Elvis, but you know that he's recorded. I've listened to. I don't own it all, nowhere near it, but I've listened to it. I know Elvis's voice.
Yeah.
I tested it with you and the
Ah,
others. I interviewed a couple of others, and and you're one of those three where I could close my eyes, and you're like 99.9% accurate
oh man,
on it all. I mean, you nail this, man. You really do. And
I
I got to
appreciate it,
commend
man.
you. The investment you've made in that in the stage suits and all that kind of stuff. I mean, those are precise. Tell me the story behind, especially like the one that's in the background there. How did
Yeah,
you get it to get so accurate? What was involved in making that happen?
man. Well, see, here's the thing. I buy them from B&K Enterprises in Indiana. Um, they have the original patterns that were made to make Elvis's suits. Um, who Gene Doucette and who was the other guy that made his outfits? I'm probably
Baloo?
gonna Bill Baloo.
Yeah.
The two gentlemen that did his outfits. Well, Gene opened up a costume shop, B&K Enterprises, and they have sold. Gene, I think, has passed since then, which is
Mm.
just it's crazy. A legend, man. He did all the embroidered, all the studding with Bill Baloo, and all this different stuff, all the designs. Um, so they're out of Indiana, and they work day in and day out to make sure that they are the most authentic that you could possibly get. And obviously they search high and low because some of these things, I mean, obviously they were buying them in the 70s. So it's like, where do you even get something like that? You know what I'm saying? And these days,
Right.
but they find it, man. They find the closest thing to the gabardine. But I mean, he had wool gabardine, which I don't even know how he's
Hotter
like
than blazes. Yeah.
hotter than blazes because most of those arenas didn't have AC either. I mean, it's just like
Mm-mm-mm.
crazy, man. That so mine's a little bit more breathable, but um they have every single jumpsuit that he possibly could have worn up on their website, from the Alpine to the Sundial to the Aloha suit to the American Eagle to the lesser known suits like the Star and Tassel suits, which we didn't really know about until the internet came out. And there's like
Yeah.
one picture of Elvis in that. And then the rest of them are in a book, um, a costume book that they sold back in the day. The Knot suit. I mean, these are suits from 1971 and stuff like that. I mean, the turquoise Contra suit, which is called Now suit because it was on the Now album of Elvis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Fun fact: Miracle of the Rosary and We Can Make the Morning are on that album as well. Which We Can Make the Morning is probably one of my favorite Elvis songs that he's ever done. Very underrated. But I mean, these costumes, I mean, they take time, they take effort. Their footprint is 6 months because they take and they place every stud individually on the suit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy. So
Now you're in your career that you and your performances, you pretty much center on what? The 70s, or do you get before that?
I do everything. I'm 28. I do the 50s, the movies, the 68, and the 70s. So essentially, because my hair's done up like the 50s now, so I have kind of like the little bigger sideburns for 1968. Whatever is passable, right, for that kind of look. But how the show goes tonight is we start with 1950s. We have a little bit of like a solo break for the band. We do a movie medley, which features Fun in Acapulco,
Mm.
Rockahula, Kissing Cousins, Girls, 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 and Viva Las Vegas. And then our girls in the band sing Peace in the Valley, which
Wow.
is but a not the version that Elvis did, but a updated version, more soulful, more up tempo version of Peace in the
Ooh.
Valley. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It gets the crowd going. And then we go to 1968. We do the 68 medley like he did in 68 comeback. Then we go to Rubberneckin', Power of My Love.
Wow.
And we are in the 68 comeback, and then we break, and then we're in Vegas, which is just a true recreation of a Vegas concert. And we try to do the hits anywhere from CC Rider, Burning Love, Proud Mary. I've created medleys and whatnot that mold them. So I kind of, again, give credit where credit's due. We've molded like Tina Turner's Proud Mary to Elvis's Proud Mary in that sense, because you get the bump, ba da 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 da
Yep.
da 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 da.
Hmm.
So it's just these little nuances that nobody's done before, and we can bring it to life on stage, to America to Trilogy, in the
Mm.
same thing. It's how do you make American Trilogy even more powerful? Well, you pair it with America the Beautiful, and
Hmm.
it's amazing what the musicians that we have in the band are have been
They're
capable of to
great.
help us, and they're amazing. The
Yep.
Infinity Tribute Band, they're one of the best in the business, and they just love the music, man. And I mean, we run together almost 365 days a year, so it's
Phew.
just
Man,
I
I
hitch my
don't know how
wagon
you
to
do
them, man, and I'm like, I can't do what I do without you guys. So
it.
I've
Well, I have to say, when I heard you do Suspicious Minds, I've heard a lot of people try to cover it. Vocally, sometimes people get, yeah, maybe 80% of the way. But no band that I've ever heard could ever do those opening riffs
yeah.
until I heard your band. And that, I mean, please tell your
Well,
guitarist I said that because
man, and
he
his name
he,
is
he
Radney
nails it.
Pennington. And man, I mean, they're their own band. I mean, I hire as much as I possibly can. So their name is the Infinite E Tribute Band. Their MD is Radney Pennington. Michaela McDowell. Ronnie McDowell?
Yeah, yeah.
Ronnie McDowell, that's his niece.
Hmm.
Um, and then Daniel Dossie out of Branson, Missouri. Tomas Bergstein, he's from Sweden. And Chris Patty, which is from Florida. And then they have a couple of different bass players that sit in with them. Eric Hoffmanis, Luke Rudy, Steve Lareco, and Sydney Remonde from New Orleans. It's crazy, man. They're just
Wow.
young musicians that love this music and that bring the fire every single time they step on the stage, man. And
What do you, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, man. I mean, they're family.
Yeah, well, my hat's off to them, man. They nail it. I'm trying to cram all these questions in there because I know you've just had a heck of a
Yeah,
day
man.
today. But any what do you hear from fans who have seen your shows? What do you have a favorite story or two that you like to share as far as what fans say to you from your
My favorite story
performances?
is not from this point in my career. My favorite story is when I was coming up, and I was playing the Rock and Roll Cafe. I was 18 at the time. It was my first taste of freedom. I stayed in Memphis, lived in Memphis for 6 months, and whatnot. And I mean, my buddy by the name of Nick Perkins, who is now an ETA as well. He was just getting started out. He was my sound guy. We were running the roads. I mean, we were both kids out in Memphis getting, Marlowe's and Gus's and all this different stuff, all that good Southern food. And living the dream, working at the Roll Cafe, which was in that entertainment complex, which is still there, but now obviously
Right.
we have the big complex over there. Um, and we You never know how many people you're going to be playing for. I mean, because it's people who just wander in or see your Facebook post or this or that, what have you. And the regular Elvis at that time, his name was Michael Cullifer, from Oklahoma, and he um, he was in the Dominican Republic at that time, so I was filling in for him. And I came in. They were like, they were just, we're going through it. cutting jokes, stuff like that. I'm going to get changed. And I was like, so how many do we have? I said, one. And I said, oh man, 100. And they were like, no, one. I'm like, I was like, so we're not doing the show? And they're like, oh no, you're doing the show. And I'm like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Um, my gosh. Okay. I'm like 18 and I'm just like green all the way around and I'm just like dragging my feet and this and that, what have you. And so we do it. We do the show. 2 hour show.
Wow.
The one lady who was there, she was the sweetest thing ever. Um, and I'm a big person on energy, big person in this like with when it comes to like, oh, you're at the right place at the right time. And you just never know. And this is obviously something that I hope that I preach all the time to the younger guys coming up that are younger than me, and any of the guys that jump in the industry and stuff like that. You just never know what the people out there are going through and what their story is. Well, we get done with the show, and she obviously there's only one person there, so she comes up and she introduces herself, and I introduce myself, and I'm like, well, you were a great audience, and I said, you were just singing along and whatnot, and um, I'm trying to hold a conversation because again I'm green, so I'm just trying to like make a connection and stuff like that, and she goes, well, you know what, I had my husband just passed, and we always wanted to see Elvis, and we never got to. And she goes, I feel like I saw him tonight. And she's like,
Wow.
you're the sweetest thing I've ever seen in my life. She goes, if I'd adopt you if I could. And I get that a lot. And obviously I'm tearing up and she's tearing up, and I'm just like, you never know. You just never know. And she fulfilled her and her husband's dream to go to go to Graceland at that point. And that's something that's stuck with me since the beginning of my professional careers. Like you're always on. You always have to be on. It doesn't matter. It's not like, oh my God, man, I'm here, and I just like I gotta get off. I get done up just like I do for 1,000 people tonight. We got 1,000 people sold out. If there was 100 people, we've had 100 people on tour before. We've had 50 people on tour before. It's just like, man, I'm with my best mates, and I'm like, let's go have some fun. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And those shows are the best shows because you're like, you can heckle them, you can have some fun with them, they can yell out songs. It's
Yep.
just like,
Get more of a
why not?
connection.
100%. And that's the biggest thing, that those things when you talk about the audience and interactions, those are some things that's my favorite interaction.
Have you met any of Elvis's people?
All of them, almost all of them.
Really?
I've
Tell me about it.
played on stage at age 5 with DJ Fontana in the Jordanaires.
Whoa.
Yeah, man. Incredible stuff. Same with Larry Strickland. Recently, goosebumps. Larry's an amazing person, and my heart goes out to him. One of my just favorite people. Linda Thompson. Um, I can't say enough good things about Linda. She has my heart in so many ways. She is just amazing. Um, I love her to death. I can't say enough about Linda. She's just always so kind, so humble. Doesn't I mean, she just takes the time. George Klein,
Mm.
Guy Harris, which is another a one that gets forgotten about a lot because we lost him very early on in whatnot from Tupelo, Mississippi. Elvis's childhood best friend. Amazing guy, and who else? Ronnie Tutt, James Burton.
Oh yeah.
The surface
I've met
level,
James. Yeah.
service level stuff, all nice, all amazing people. Um, Joe Grisha, and who else? Joe Mascao.
Yeah.
Um, oh
From the
gosh, Patty
Imperials.
Perry.
Yeah.
Patty
Yeah.
Perry. I was her little grandson, and her and my grandmother were best friends. And she came to the Orlando Elvis Festival that they had and stuff like that. That's where I met DJ and Karen and the Jordanaires, Gordon Stoker, and all of those cats and whatnot. That's where I got to sing with them, and um, Scotty when he was
Hmm.
alive.
very young, very, very young.
Wow.
Marion Cox, Elvis's personal nurse. Um, she called me her great grandson, along with Ted Torres and another fellow ETA. And man, I mean, just people just are, they were so nice and so kind. I got a small experience with Lisa and Priscilla through Marion. Just very small. They called her. I answered the phone. They said, "Is Marion here?" I said, "No, she's outside walking the dog." She says, "Well, give her my best and tell her I called." I said, "Okay," and I was just like, "Okay, cool, um, cool." Very what? Okay. Um, I who else? Joe Esposito.
Yeah.
Joe, you could feel Joe's heart when I met Joe when I was 18 at the New Daisy Theater in Memphis. Very short time. He saw me win my first non-professional contest in Memphis, and again, I probably blended in with all the other guys with sideburns and whatnot. But he took the time and he said, "Kid, you got a great look. You got a great presence." He goes, he'd be proud, and I'm like,
Wow.
gosh, oh my gosh. And again, I don't know if he said that to everybody, but listen, man, in that
I doubt
moment,
it.
that was a time, that moment in time for me and him. And I was 18. I just sat there and listened to him, and he was good friends with a guy by the name of E-Rock, and they always ran together and stuff like that. So they were all there, and there's a picture of me with my like just not polished look or anything like that in my chain suit. And I'm just like sitting there looking at Joe, and Joe's this little old man just sitting there. I got the honor of meeting his daughter in LA this past April. And she just couldn't had the best things to say about her dad. And
Mm.
she's on Instagram and stuff like that. And we keep in touch and stuff like that just through reacting and whatnot. And just, it's so crazy to see the impact that Elvis had on these people. And then these people had
Mm.
impact on everybody else's life. Sonny and Red West. Um,
Wow.
Sonny was, I've never in my life, I was probably 8. We were at Tupelo. And Sonny and Red are very controversial in the Elvis world because
Well,
of what they supposedly
wrote.
did to
Yeah.
Elvis and whatnot. And Sonny and my grandmother, who's no longer with us, she passed in 2012. Um, man, she marched in there and had just some words to say to Sonny, and I remember her just going off, and Sonny just sitting there taking it, and he said one thing to my grandmother, and I looked away for 1 second, and they were bawling together. They were just bawling. And he goes, "You're the first person to come today." Because nobody came. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to see him. Because it was like one
Mm.
of the first events that he had done and stuff like that. And to be in Tupelo, of all places, I mean,
Oh
looking
yeah.
back at it
Yeah.
now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like kind of how dare you or this, that, what have you. And I mean, we sat there for 4 hours and talked to Sonny.
Whoa.
4 hours, him and
My goodness.
his wife, and it was just so crazy to see grandma and my mom and my grandfather. I call him Papa. My dad, just everybody, my little sister, and it's just everybody was just we were holding court, as they say.
Very
Just
cool.
those memories and those things that I just have, and I just keep to myself. I don't brag. I don't do this because it's not this, dude. Like it's all up here in my head, and I just look at it as just such a blessing from God to have such a long lineage of things that I look back and I'm like, I don't remember that, but my God, I'm sitting there with DJ Fontana, you
Wow.
know,
Amazing.
and so, but
Very
um,
cool.
but yeah, those are kind of the things that I've been doing. So on that end.
A little trivia here for you too that you might be interested in. I mentioned the Jay Sebring book that Marshall, my friend Marshall, co-wrote. He co-wrote it with Jay Sebring's nephew. I interviewed him. The interview with him posted this Wednesday of this week. In that interview, we talk about Elvis and Jay having cut Elvis's hair and their heads butted. They did not get along. The guy that worked for Jay that took over was Larry Geller. So there you go. There was that tie
Yes.
there. Jay Sebring, who was murdered with Sharon Tate, had Larry Geller working for him. That took over Elvis from Jay. And that's all in the interview I did with him. Not to sell my interview or anything, but just letting you know where these little
Right.
umbilicals kind of all tie in together. And
And you just never know, like, people's Elvis connections, man. I mean, it's nuts. I mean,
yep.
like, um, but truly amazing stuff, man. These are the type of interviews that I love doing. I really do. Because I'm not me. It's not about me, man. I say it on stage. I said, if you're here for me, you're here for the wrong reasons. You be here for Elvis. You know what I mean? Again, I don't do this, you know, for the money. I make an honest living. I do it because I love it. You know
Yep.
what I
Well,
mean?
it shows.
Pays,
It shows, and
you know?
it shows in the quality. What? Just out of curiosity, of all your repertoire of songs that you do of Elvis's, what song would you point people to? Because there's going to be people watching this interview that are just
Of
going to
course.
become aware of you because of this interview. So, what song would you point them to that's out there for them to watch, or could listen to on one of the streaming platforms, that you do of Elvis's that you would point to as a calling card? And then the second question is, what is your personal favorite Elvis song, whether or not you do that song?
Okay, yeah. Um, Never been asked that question because I kind of deflect compliments or putting this or saying, oh, well, I do this song, but a calling card is I can work with that. I can answer that one. Um, if you say a calling card, I'd say me performing Unchained Melody. That's my song, man. I look at it as a connection to him. I look at it as a connection to my two late grandparents. Um, I mean, I just um got out of a very disruptive chapter in my life with people who were around me that really weren't for me and whatnot, and you know pulled me away from my heart, and my heart is always what pulled me through, and my spirit, and that song, it just couldn't be extinguished on. And I have such a profound, like, emotion when I have that song on my heart. And I don't do it every night because it's difficult to sing. But I the lyrics, I mean, you know, Godspeed your love, to me, lonely rivers flow to the sea, to the open arms of the sea. I'll be coming home. Wait for me. Oh, my love,
Yeah.
my darling. You know
Wow.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's just like every time I sang it, I think about my grandmother and my
Mm.
grandfather. I mean, he we lost her in 12, and we had him for 12 more years after that. you know uh
Wow.
and most people, that's not the case. They that they've been together for 60 years, and they don't last long.
That's
um
right.
but I didn't let him go. You know what I mean? Me and my sister Jade, I mean, we were very my grandparents shaped my life, just
Hmm.
as well as my mother and father, but my grandparents shaped me. And I that's my calling card, man. If I had to pick a calling card, I just pour all everything that I have into that song. And I think about them. Because that's really the only thing that, again, like, we have memories, but I just feel a profound connection to them at that point. And That's my favorite Elvis song too. Uh,
Wow. Well, and you have a video of you performing that on your website, right?
yep. At the Ultimate, the stars aligned when I won. I got Unchained Melody and Suspicious Minds, and back to back, and then I got to do How Great Thou Art. And my grandfather was there to watch me win, and he was
That's
gone.
okay.
He was he was gone 4 months later, and
How how special he got to be there for you.
I think that it was just the last thing to check off his box. I'm a firm believer in that in life. People live for passion and goals in their life, and things that they want to see. And if you don't have a goal, then you're just floating in life. I feel like I just feel like you're not really truly living. And
Yeah.
eventually you'll get to a point where will and dedication is the only thing that's going to keep you going. And so finding something that you can have that's willing you to stay alive and to follow and to chase, man, that is what it is about. That's how you stay
Yep.
young forever.
That's right.
My grandfather was 84. Before he lost him, he had 2 keyboards, loading them up into the trailer. And I said, Papa, he goes, I'll stop when I'm dead. And he goes, he's just a little New Hampshire man. Um, and um, and you know something, he he was there, and we got the call, and it was the hardest day of my life.
I
Um,
bet.
I had to perform that night.
Oh,
Um, and I had my family around me, my Elvis family, my brothers, and you know, it's not something that I've talked about ever on camera or on an interview, so this is a first. And I just remember just being in this sense of like just disbelief. I don't even know if it's disbelief, but numbness, because it was just like that. But it was like I don't I don't know how I got through it. It was by the grace of God that I got through it. And we sang one last song for him. And second to last song that I sang was Unchained Melody. And the last song I sang for him, he always said, we always sat on his couch, and he said, he goes, you better, if I pass away, if I leave and you have a show, he goes, you better get your behind, and he didn't use behind on that stage, and you better sing. He goes, because I'll come back down and I'll haunt you for the rest of your life, and it won't be fun for you, Cody. And and you know what? He got his wish. He manifested every single thing about it.
wow.
We watched my grandmother, she lost the battle with cancer, stage 4. Third battle, she was a tough one. Tough
Mm.
one, tough one. And he never wanted to suffer. He just wanted to go to sleep, and you know what? That's it. And you want to know something? That's what he did. Went to sleep
Wow.
peacefully as ever. And he lived a life like you wouldn't believe, man. I mean, he was a self-made man, and it was just one of those moments where it was just like, you know what? There was not a place that I should have been except there at the Georgia Elvis Festival with my people, with my family. I know I was separated from my family, but I was with my family nonetheless. So if that's
Yeah.
that's the calling card, that's my favorite song. Is I mean, it doesn't get any deeper than that. I just don't.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, similarly, and not trying to inject myself into your
Of
story, but
course.
I think you hear this kind of thing a lot. For me, my mom was the Elvis fan. She
Yeah.
was around the same age as Elvis, and actually a little bit younger. And my first records I listened to were her 45s, Wear My Ring Around Your Neck, Don't You Think It's Time, uh, Santa Bring My Baby Back to Me, all those kinds of
Absolutely.
songs. And
Absolutely.
I've got every one of those 45s in my possession. She passed away a little over 7 years ago. And so it's what the stories I love hearing is just like you shared, how the love for music, how the love, and whether it's Elvis or anybody else, that parents and grandparents hand down to their kids.
It's unbelievable that we all have that person that gets us introduced to someone like this or a genre of music, and it just shapes it shapes that person for the rest of our life. I
It
mean, it really
does.
is. And that's so amazing that your mom was that person for you, man. And just like to have those moments, to have that moment with your mom, getting to go there, it's incredible.
Yep.
My mom
Yep.
actually is tours with us now, so I'm very blessed that my mom
Cool.
is with me. She's knocked on the door. They don't know what I'm doing. They thought they that I had an interview today, but like then they're like hello, and I'm like, hey man, I'm not messing up the flow of it. So I just had to quick grab my charger, but she is on the road with me. It's a family affair, man. I mean, my mom works for me now, which is the best. And as you know, it can be the most challenging thing because she's a mother and she will always be a mother, man. And that is one of the best things about, like, she always makes sure I'm taken care of. She always makes sure the band, everybody, the guys. Mom actually cooked for the Nashville Elvis Festival, Brian and Tom's festival, Brian Mays'
Yeah,
festival
yeah,
that they
Brian.
have in
He's a great
Nashville.
guy, by the way.
And
Love
Brian
Brian.
is one of him and Tom. Fun fact, they were the first people to take a chance on me. And I said, just give me a shot. Give me a shot. Just let me sing. You just pay for my gas. Okay. Okay. And and they gave me a shot, and I never looked back. And
Wow.
if it wasn't for Brian and Tom, I probably wouldn't have had the stage to go out and start showcasing, because it gave me legitimacy, because they're legitimate. I mean, they have one of the most prestigious festivals out there, the Nashville Elvis Festival
Yep.
and stuff like that. So, I mean, Mom did the catering for Nashville this year, home cooked meals for people and stuff
Whoa.
like that. Yeah, man, she can throw down in the kitchen. So I always get to have Mom's cooking, and everybody gets to have Mom's cooking. Everybody loves Mama D. So, it's just a great thing to have. And just, we build each other up. We build everybody up. Everything that we do and that we have, we put out there together, and everything is there to help one another. And, like, if there's anybody out there in the industry that says that we don't, well, they haven't experienced it yet. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Um, so it's just
Are
one
you
of
are
those
you going
crazy
to be
things.
playing the festival in March in Nashville?
Yep, I will be there. I don't know what night I'm going to be on, but I am going to be in Nashville this coming week for 68 Comeback. We're recreating the 68 Comeback in the round.
Wow.
Myself and Emilio Santero, the current reigning Ultimate Champion, not for much longer. So then we'll be two past Ultimates, two
I
old
talked to
dogs.
him yesterday. I talked to
Yeah,
him
so
yesterday. So
and one of my best mates ever, and I'm so glad that I was able to pass the crown to someone who took it even further and repped it and pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. And then we're coming back again in December for Christmas of the King. That's our 8th year there. That's another thing that was born because I just went up to Tom and Brian and said, "Hey, have you ever thought doing a Christmas show would work?" And we were down at the Nashville Palace for 2 years, and then we got picked up at Franklin after
wow.
COVID, to the Franklin Theater, and
Yeah.
that has been our home. And we've gone from one show to 2 shows to 4 shows, and
Wow.
it's just one of those things, man. I mean, yeah, Brian and me are attached at the hip, and so is
I
Tom. I
love
mean,
the guy. He
such great mentors,
yeah.
great people, man. Him and Jess are amazing.
I, yeah, they're I've worked off and on with Brian on, interviewing different ones of his clientele, and I've even got pictures on my personal Facebook page of me, him, his wife, and John Snyder at a pickup concert in I think it
Yes.
was just before COVID hit, and it was in downtown Nashville. I was working in Nashville at the time. I'm in the Smoky Mountains now, but caring for my dad, and he's got Alzheimer's, so I'm his caretaker.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I would be catching you next week. But I am going to try to catch the festival in Nashville next year, and it would be great to be able to meet
Yeah,
up
man.
with you and shake hands with you. And I tell
Of
you what,
course.
anytime you've got anything special going on, or I've even threatened to get together several people to talk, do recorded Elvis forums, like you and I were talking just on this call, and just
Yeah,
because there's so
man.
many fans out
Absolutely.
there. So maybe we'll do that sometime. But man, I want to stay in touch. And
Man,
where
the
can
door
where
is
can people?
always open for that.
Well, and my door's always open to you to help promote whatever you got going on. But so people can find out where you're performing. Tell viewers how to track you, how to stalk you, Elvis.
You can find me on Facebook at CoteDeonath, Cody Deonath, or on Instagram, Cody Ultimate, or CodyUltimateElvis.com. Everything is up to date. I've found a rhythm finally for getting those things up on my website and keeping the social media up to date, stuff like that.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
Man, it's hard being a one-man show, man. I mean, and not
I'm
really a one-man show.
I'm there.
Everybody. I mean, it takes a village for me to
Hmm.
do what I do, and I have so many amazing people around me that have their torches, and they hold them with the utmost pride, and they hold them so well and work so hard. It's just one of those things, man, where I look at what we do, and it's just like I wouldn't have any other way.
Yeah. Well, man, this is a lot of fun. I hope we get to talk more in the future, and I hope I get to catch one of your
Yes.
shows somewhere, somehow. And I meant what I said. My door's open to you. If there's anything I can do to help you, man, please reach out. Or if you just want to, you don't have anybody to talk to, you want to talk about Elvis, let me know, man. We'll have fun with that. So I've got more
Absolutely.
Elvis stories, but I didn't want to make this talk all about me. I've got met Vernon at the gate as my family was moving to Arizona. I still got the little calendar card he gave my mom to give to me. And I still got it. Got my ticket stubs, all sorts of stuff like that. So we need to
Amazing,
talk.
man. We need to talk more. Yes.
That's right. Well, listen, thank your mom for being patient about this call, and tell her thank you for all her patience. So, and man, stay safe, stay well, and we will definitely meet down the road.
Thank you, brother. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
take care. Bye bye.
Thanks, brother.
This has been another fun-filled episode of Boomerocity with your host and producer, Randy Patterson. The theme song is Roll the Dice and is recorded and used by permission from Quentin Hope. Quentin is spelled Quinten, and Hope is Hope. And you can find out more about Quentin at quentinhope.com. Post-production is done by Cardinal Sins Productions. The Boomerocity name, logo, and content is copyright protected. Segments may only be used with written permission by Boomerocity and or its assignees. Inquiry should be directed to input@boomerocity.com. Copyright 2025.